My name's Finn Boylan. I'm 31 years of age from Bray, County Wicklow. And I've been making a documentary in Ukraine since the beginning. So I got back from the Donbass, eastern Ukraine. It is a different existence, and it does take time to readjust. A couple of days ago, I was having explosions going off all around me. This most recent trip, flew from Dublin to Krakow, and then from Krakow, you'd hit the border in West Ukraine, and then to Lviv, the first city, and then from there, we drove to Kyiv, and then from Kyiv to the Donbass. With my fixer, basically tried to catch as much, footage of the current counter-offensive that is underway in Donbass and on the southern axis. So I was basically every day for those 30 days out in frontline areas. So this will be the 7th month in total I've spent in frontline areas of Ukraine since the war began. So the footage I gave you was a very special area in the Donbass because it's one of the most forested areas. And I was there filming the mortar teams. They were calibrating their mortars that day for a major assault at 4 a.m. the next morning. And while we were there, we were basically sitting in this forest in the middle of an artillery duel on both sides from the bigger stuff behind us. So we were 2 kilometers from the Russian positions, and the big artillery pieces of the Russians were a couple of kilometers behind that. But also behind us was the Ukrainian rockets and larger artillery pieces. It was kind of weird, to be in the middle of it as the rockets and the shells are soaring overhead. And realizing that, you're not a target because you're too small. This kind of gives you a sense of the power of this war. It's total war. It's stuff we haven't seen since World War II. But you only live in your little bubble out there with your fixer, or in terms of the soldiers, with their commander, with their unit, with their platoon. You have no idea what's going on the rest of the front. So in any downtime you get where you do get internet access, you generally try to catch up on what's going on the rest of the front, or message your mates to see if they're still breathing. But yeah, downtime looks a lot like that, just chilling out, listening to explosions. In terms of alcohol is completely forbidden in frontline areas. You can be court-martialed as a soldier, thrown in prison, arrested by the police. It's a big no-no. It's very important that it is banned, because the worst thing that can happen is, you've got drunk soldiers on a position, and then the Russians storm those positions, and they aren't able to put up a meaningful resistance. But to be honest, the big one is cigarettes. Just packs and packs and packs and packs of cigarettes people smoke. It's de-stresses you. The footage you're going to see is from a medical stabilization point. About 500 meters behind the front line, you'll have a casualty collection point, CCP. And then after the casualty collection point, you'll have about 2 to 3 kilometers, you'll have the medical stabilization point. This is where wounded soldiers get their first bit of proper medical care, where they'll see a doctor or somebody that will then patch them up enough and stabilize them to then make them be able to survive the journey to a real hospital. They can only move the wounded in the night because it's too dangerous at the moment. In the space of one night at that stabilization point, there was 5 dead, 2 dead on arrival, 3 dead on the table. 30 casualties, and about 10 lost their legs that night. My camera is my shield. I filter everything through my lens. I have everything in a 16:9 frame format, so I always kind of have that disconnect. But there comes moments where you have to be human and you have to put the camera down. For basically my entire time in Ukraine on this trip, I was based in Kramatorsk. It is the de facto capital of the Donetsk. If Putin, take this, he's basically essentially captured the Donbass region. So I was based here and driving up and down the front here every day. Unfortunately, everything is a target in that town. You don't know when the next missile is going to hit you, and unfortunately that happened while I was there.
At least 10 people have been killed, including 3 teenagers, by a Russian missile that hit the city of Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine. The Kremlin has denied any involvement.
A pizzeria. I was there just an hour after the blast when civilians were killed. I don't know how many military were there. They don't release those numbers.
There's people down here for sure.
I was there for the cleanup and managed to get right into the thick of it and film some very fortunate woman being dug out of the rubble. Everything's a target there, but people's life go on. I mean, the next morning, everyone's going into the shopping centre next door, going to work, selling groceries, buying groceries, getting their coffees. Now soldiers need to find a new place to drink their coffee, so there's another one about half a kilometre down the road. It's just how it is. Life goes on there. Skuchna, which is the axis in the south, the southern front, that the Ukrainians have been the most successful in this counter-offensive. It's one of the most active areas on the front right now. And these soldiers were taking us through the town, and they were basically like chronicling their battle experience 2 weeks ago.
What does it say on the wall?
Rover.
So this area was liberated, this town. So he was taking us through. Yeah, I fired from here. This was my firing position.
Get out.
And yeah, there was just a dead Russian sitting there and not much left of them, to be honest. Unfortunately, the Russians are left on the battlefield. No one's picking them up. The Ukrainians collect their own dead and their own civilians. It's brutal, but it's war.
Are you religious?
Am I religious? It's a good question. I don't know if I believe in the traditional institutionalized religion that we all grew up with in Catholic school, but I definitely believe there's something watching over me. My closest encounter with death, personally, I was in Mykolaiv, which is in the south of Ukraine. This was in May last year, May 2022. We went into a recently liberated village, into a school that was a Russian command post, and I was in the building no more than 5 minutes when the first shells started coming in.
Because they know it's no sense for use this one.
Jesus.
It's not protect you.
And then about 2 or 3 minutes later, another one came in, hit the building. You can actually hear the whoosh as it comes in and explodes.
Yeah. And at that moment then we knew that they were readjusting fire and we were the target. And then we just made a break for it. Out the building, out the front door. The alarm in my car started going on and off outside, like beep, beep. That was the closest I came to getting killed. I will say that because I was the target of that. Are you okay?
Are you okay, guys? Everybody okay?
Yep.
All good. All over.
Readjusting is a bit difficult. I'm getting married in a couple of weeks. I'm very happy to see my fiancée. She's very happy to have me back. Happy to see my mom, my dad. Really happy to see my dog, because she's an angel in my life. But yeah, it does take time to readjust to it all. Today on Bray Seafront, seeing the Irish Air Corps flying over on a helicopter reminds me of Ukrainian helicopters in the Zaporizhzhia front, 2 of them flying over and firing their rockets and turning around. We're incredibly lucky here, incredibly lucky. I count my blessings every day, you know. We really don't appreciate it. We complain about the small things that aren't problems at all. Everybody thinks they're oppressed or the victim. You're not oppressed, you're not a victim. go out there, take a look at that. This could go on for many years to come. It's going to be a lot more casualties and a lot more young men are dead before it's done.